and suddenly I felt nothing. I couldn't cry, so once again, I couldn't sleep.
There was this Mexican pilot back in the 70s whose plane was hijacked by aliens.
Yo, I heard about this shit.
You guys could come up with your own conclusion. Basically, there was this 23-year-old and he was training to be a pilot, and in 1976 he was set to have another training flight, but this time alone for the first time. He ends up taking off at 9:15 a.m. right? Just keep that time in mind. 9:15 a.m. and everything was normal up until a couple minutes later when communications with him got completely lost. And then at a certain point he started to panic because he tried to like turn right, tried to turn left, but like the wheel wouldn't budge, and then it started to like elevate thousands of feet,
Like if something was dragging him up or
type and then he just passes out, and he ends up waking up not knowing how long he was out for. And then he hears like somebody talking on the radio, and then he's like, I don't know where I'm at, I'm lost, I fell asleep on the plane. And then he looks at the time, it's 11:30 a.m.
Oh, that's already 2
That's already 2 hours. That's already 2 hours, right? The person on the radio tells him that you're just off the coast of Acapulco, and for the last hour you've been flying back and forth over the water. And the weird part about it is that he arrived at Acapulco at 10:30, just an hour after he took off. But where he originally took off, it takes 3 hours to get to Acapulco.
It's like if he had just like teleported or appeared there.
Whenever he showed up at the coast of Acapulco, he was talking to the person on the radio. They said that his voice was more deeper and it sounded like more robotic.
You about to play or?
I'm gonna play it for you. Yeah. For the next 30 to 45 minutes, the voice being projected through Raphael talked about humanity is the only intelligent species in the entire universe that uses warfare and conducts violence on each other, and you are poised for nuclear holocaust, and you may be exterminated if this continues.
Yo.
And the crazy thing is too, bro, that I don't see nobody else talking about this shit. A year prior, there was another pilot named
Recently, I did a post about a meteor that fell somewhere in Mexico, and a gentleman chased the meteor down. The glowing fragments you see were left over from the meteor and are still lit up. He tracked these things down and he found something on the location that was really strange. What we're looking at was captured by Ken Panama, and this was left behind by the meteor. Ken thinks he found a living organism that possibly came with the meteor. I think Ken was pretty brave to gather something that came from the sky with an unknown origin. Here you see the living, I'm not sure whether to call this a creature or an insect, but this is what he found in that meteor blast site. Was this something from another planet? Would you pick this thing up? And shouldn't he maybe turn this in to the proper authorities? What would you do in this situation? And what do you think about what Ken Panama found at this meteor site? Leave your thoughts in the comments. This is Unanswered Universe.
Guys, I don't have much time, so I just wanted to show you a clip of what I saw. Just people.
Tonight we are hearing from whistleblowers also on Capitol Hill who allege the government is holding back crucial information about UAPs, unexplained aerial phenomena, what many of us still call UFOs. Senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram shows us that tonight.
Shocking witness testimony.
It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze.
From whistleblowers who served in the military.
Chaos ensued over the radio as the object approached rapidly. I heard my friends screaming, "It's coming right at us, it's coming right for us."
People demand answers.
There is something out there, and we should know as the people what it is.
The hearing was enough to convince some lawmakers who were once skeptics.
Growing up, I really never believed in UFOs or any of this stuff. I admit, I've become a believer.
GOP Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson showed an alarming video leaked to him anonymously. Burleson contends it shows a U.S. drone firing a Hellfire missile at a UAP off the coast of Yemen last fall.
It pivots in some way, and then there's what appears to be debris from the missile. The missile is deflected, and then some pieces of debris appear to be traveling alongside and with this object for an extended period of time.
One witness says the federal agency tasked with investigating UAPs rules out encounters with extraterrestrials on a technicality.
The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
Lawmakers believe the whistleblowers are credible because of their positions.
It's politically convenient for the government if you all weren't military folks in suits. It would be much better if you pulled up in Winnebagos and were wearing hats.
One congresswoman wants special protections for UAP whistleblowers.
Most of our whistleblowers that come forward, the first thing that goes is their security clearance. Security clearance is their livelihood.
Lawmakers say the U.S. is now in a space race. It's competing against China and Russia to figure out UAPs first. Brett?
Megan and I are actually kind of scared right now because we don't know if we're like okay or
I'm gonna get prone.
Or if something's about to happen because this is moving.
I'm gonna get prone.
This is literally moving in the sky right now.
Wait, what the heck is that? I don't know. I don't think this is Disney. I don't think this is Disney.
I'm actually kind of like scared.
It's actually freaking.
Everyone's being really casual right now.
Wait, this looks exactly like everything on the movie. You know what? What's the movie where they spell the words with the circles?
Guys. It's literally black fog coming out of it.
How is that possible?
What is it? That's weird.
Let's see if I can get it on camera. Alright, there it is. I got it on camera. There's a cloud. And there's a flash up. There's the houses down here. So the flying saucer. It's so far away, I'm getting it. If you need to find it, try that. First, read the honest readers and then ask what is it in itself? What is it in so far away, I can't Let's see if I can get it on camera.
It must be about 3,000 feet up now, I say.
Alright, there it is. I got it.
I made eye contact with this individual and it was like an immediate, and I'd never really considered this even in the realm of possibility. And I still don't know what I think, to be honest with you, what I really believe at the end of the day. But, we had a telepathic just like that.
Can you describe what the situation was and what this individual looked like?
I don't know if I want to go public fully on where it was, but it happened in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. And the individual looked like a relatively normal person. And the individual, I remember, was doing like moving a chair or something like that. And this individual sensed that I was looking at him for whatever reason, kind of doing this, like maybe dragging a chair, and then turned around and looked me right in the eyes. And it was like, holy shit. Like in myself, I wasn't scared, but it was like you're not human. But it was really, the individual knew that was the communication that the individual gave to me, and knew that I had received it. And
it knew that you knew.
Yes. Like in an instant. And I knew, it knew, and I was okay. Big blue, like electric blue eyes, like piercing, like freeze in your tracks when you got when I made eye contact. I never told a soul because I sound like a crazy guy, and I don't know what I don't even know what I saw.
So
I'm just telling you that was the communication that happened, and it happened like that, like that. And I wasn't scared.
What do they look like?
The eyes?
No, what did the person look like? Was
like
it
a normal person, dark skin?
Yeah.
Relatively. Not sure of the ethnicity. I'm not
wasn't
sure.
Swedish or anything. Wasn't like Scandinavian.
No,
Tall particularly? Do you remember?
No, not tall.
Just regular
normal,
looking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What made you look in that direction?
I don't know. And I just remember it was like, it was immediate.
And you knew.
Immediate communication. Just fucking bam, like that. And I wasn't scared. And then I went about my business and I never talked about it.
But it stuck with you.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. But I didn't believe it. I didn't even believe it. You see my point? Like, I didn't believe that happened to me. But then I'm hearing other people talk about it, Timothy Good, and then Bigelow, the alleged encounter in the desert from 1994, Nellis test range that Mr. Sands talks about. I don't know. Did it happen? Do these things happen? Are they walking among us? I don't know.
It's aliens. Just a couple hours ago, NASA came out and said they have found life on Mars, an ancient fossil holding life. Now, this past week, we also had the UFO hearing in Washington. And what I find really strange is that nobody from NASA attended. You have George Knapp, a news anchor, sitting up there. You have security officers telling you what they saw, but nobody from NASA is attending the UFO hearings in Washington. And to me, that is a strange thing to be happening, right? Like, they should be there. Now, you also have, looking at our president, him cutting funding at NASA. You have to think, like, why would you cut funding at NASA if we finally have these whistleblower protection plans, and you have NASA possibly finding life on Mars and UFO hearings in Washington, and you're going to cut NASA? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it means we already know there's life here. What's happening at Area 51 is true. These whistleblowers that are coming out, these like security officers being like, I saw this huge craft in the sky over the military base. It's common knowledge, right? It's common knowledge. We already know what we have.
3I Atlas is changing again. Just weeks from its closest pass to the sun, astronomers in Namibia recorded the interstellar visitor shifting from a reddish glow to a bright green coma during the lunar eclipse. Instruments confirm the change is tied to a surge in cyanide production, now measured at nearly 20 grams per second, along with an unusual release of nickel but no iron. Most researchers say this is cometary activity, ice and dust breaking apart as it heats. But Harvard's Avi Loeb argues the data is anything but typical. He notes the nickel signature matches a process used in industrial refining and warns we should not dismiss the possibility of a technological origin. Loeb has gone further, suggesting that 3I Atlas could deploy smaller probes as it swings through the solar system. Some of those, he says, could even reach Earth and appear as unidentified aerial phenomena. With its sheer size, strange trajectory, and chemical profile that defies expectations, Loeb is pressing NASA to aim spacecraft at the object while the chance remains. The interstellar visitor will reach perihelion in October, inside the orbit of Mars, before heading back out through the solar system. Whether it is simply a rare comet or something more, its behavior is unlike anything we have tracked before. And for now, all eyes remain on 3I Atlas.
Jeremy Corbell told us this would happen.
All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe.
This was 6 months ago. And now what is all over all the headlines? There is a giant craft making its way to Earth. This isn't disclosure. This is the setup. If Corbell was right, we are watching the playbook unfold in real time. The question really is, if the craft is the lie, then what is already here or happening?
At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, But these astronomers run it through the machines, and it comes out that that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing this date.
What?
And now you hear it all over TV. 2026, that's the big date. 2027.
Easter, April 5th, there is a prediction from Chris Blatzo that when the Star of Regulus is in the gaze of the Sphinx, the world will enter an age of new knowledge. So this is, I'm not sure what this means, but this is exactly when the 3I Atlas comet will be actually passing Jupiter on March 16th. There's also the fact that the composition of this comet isn't supposed to exist in space. And this is something that they just found out 3 days ago. You know what has nickel in its composition in space? Spaceships, not comets or meteors. This is exactly why people are freaking out, and they just found out about this 3 days ago. So the question is, if this thing is not a comet, if it is an alien spaceship, what's stopping these drones and alien orbs that we saw just last year from being some sort of reconnaissance system, or even them possibly phoning home for something bigger to come? So New York's putting payphones back.
24 kilómetros. ¿Sí? Va deambulando y se mueve por el espacio.
¿Y cómo se llama?
Están analizándolo, no están analizando porque no es ni un satélite. Están definiendo, hay una junta de científicos analizando el contenido porque evidentemente es de otro lugar.
De otro planeta.
De otro planet, ponerlo de otra galaxia, lo que fuere.
Bien.
Lo que sí han dicho que tiene una forma absolutamente largada, por eso lo midieron.
Se desplaza a una velocidad considerable.
714.000 kilómetros por hora.
Rapidísimo.
Qué locura.
Por ahí le pifio, pongámosle 700.000 kilómetros por hora.
can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you. They did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over an ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us. United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart, they fuse back together, they'd appear and disappear, and right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes, the missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
From our 8 News Now investigators, dramatic UFO footage recorded aboard a U.S. warship off the coast of Southern California is making waves. As we first reported last week, Navy sailors recorded video of 2 tic-tac-shaped objects near their ship. Well, now an eyewitness to that encounter has stepped forward, and coincidentally, he's from Las Vegas.
8 News Now investigator George Knapp spoke with the witness about his encounter with a whiz-bang craft that emerged from the ocean.
This is the famed Tic Tac object that was pursued by the Navy's best aviators off the coast of Southern California back in 2004. And this is the thermal image of 2 strikingly similar objects documented by the crew of the USS Jackson in February 2023 in the very same waters. The original Tic Tac proved to be one of the most consequential UFO incidents of all time, first investigated by a secret program based in Las Vegas, managed by the DIA. The incident generated a huge wave of media coverage and inspired Congress to launch new investigations into UFOs, now called UAPs.
I feel obligated to show moral leadership on this issue of UAP disclosure by validating the credibility of the courageous men and women who have come out as witnesses and whistleblowers to expose the truth.
In the most recent congressional hearing into the UAP mystery, retired Rear Admiral Dr. Tim Gallaudet encouraged witnesses to step forward, and now one of them has.
I am Operations Specialist Senior Chief Alexandra Wiggins. Been in the Navy for 23 years and counting.
When Alexandra Wiggins heard that a video from the USS Jackson's encounter with unknown objects was circulating, he reached out to the former admiral and was then put in touch with filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, who first released the new Tic Tac video on the podcast Weaponized. Wiggins not only shared details about the encounter, but also his personal connection to Las Vegas. He grew up here, as shown in this photo with his brother in the family's backyard.
I've watched you when your hair was as dark as mine.
In February 2023, Wiggins was a senior chief and radar specialist on the Jackson, an air traffic controller for the Navy. His main job was to identify what might be in the air near the ship. He and others in the Jackson's Combat Information Center saw curious objects on their screens. Wiggins wanted to get eyes on whatever it was and went out to take a look.
And to my surprise, which is something I've never witnessed, was a light I noticed on the horizon, but it looked as if it were surfacing out of the water.
He says he jammed back to the combat center and took a closer look on the Sapphire system, which is a thermal sensor, not a camera. The sensor detected not just 1, but 2 tic-tac-shaped objects. Neither showed any hint of an exhaust system or any known propulsion system.
We only saw the one, and then we see the second one. It was only when we zoom out we realize, holy crap, there's 2 more out here, a total of 4. And all of a sudden, you just see all 4 of them take off to the northeast all at the same time. Just out of nowhere. And if I had to talk speed, it would say like maybe 2 steps behind instantaneous.
A former analyst for the Defense Department and Department of State, Merrick von Rennenkamp, scoured air traffic records and found there were no planes or helicopters whose presence might explain the 4 objects seen by the Navy crew. Wiggins makes it clear he is not a whistleblower, merely a witness. He says he's loved his years with the Navy. The ship did not file any formal notice about the incident because the Tic Tacs weren't close enough to the ship and did not display hostile intent. As for the Pentagon's UFO office, ARROW, current and former military personnel have told us they simply do not trust that operation. Wiggins previously served on the USS Omaha, one of 10 Navy warships which were buzzed by dozens of unidentified objects in the same area back in 2019. Radar returns and thermal images documented multiple large circular objects around the Omaha for more than an hour. One of them disappeared into the sea.
Oh, splash. I just want to be able to step out and kind of give any information I can to help out, again, and help understand what it is that we're witnessing and what we've been witnessing in the skies this 80 years.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
A lot of people I interview have had fleeting interactions in one-off instances. They've been abducted by a gray, or they've, interacted with a tall white or a Nordic. You've had years of interactions with all 3, but mostly with the tall whites.
There was this giant white radioactive horse that floated around the ranges at night and was fluorescent. The extraterrestrials, when they come, even if they're your good friends, there's always a tension because they always come heavily armed.
Today's amazing guest on American Alchemy has seen the inside of a UFO. He's a first-hand witness to the collaboration between human beings and aliens from another world. He's even made an alien laugh. Charles Hall was in the Air Force. He was also stationed at the notorious Area 51. While stationed there, he was in regular contact with an alien race that he calls the Tall Whites for 2 years. This conversation is absolutely wild.
There's a guy at NASA who has a deep interest in these sorts of things, experiencers. His name is Timothy Taylor. Have you heard of him by any chance?
Did you say Timothy Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good friend of ours.
We're going to be talking about aliens going to the bathroom, what powers a UFO, and theories of subatomic physics that overturn Einstein. Before we get into it, I want to introduce our guest, Charles Hall. Hall enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 1964 when he was just 19 years old. He trained as a weather observer, measuring wind speeds, cloud cover, and visibility. From 1965 to 1967, he was stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. His job included long, isolated tours at the Indian Springs gunnery ranges. He was out in the desert doing routine weather observations when he started noticing strange figures. Tall, pale, glowing shapes moving at a distance. At first, he thought they were ghosts, or maybe hallucinations brought on by solitude. Other observers had similar experiences. They called it the legend of Range 4 Harry, a ghostly radioactive horse roaming the desert. One observer was even injured in an encounter with something and given a medical discharge. Others flat out refused to return to the post. But Hall was very different. Something about who he was meant that he wasn't gonna break like the others had, and both his commanders and these tall white beings seemed to take notice. In this isolated crucible, he began slowly interacting with the tall whites. These beings would stalk him and test him, appear suddenly and vanish, slowly gauging his reactions. But he eventually learned this unwritten language, and although there were some painful setbacks, he gradually developed a trust. He saw family groups, parents, children, elders. He would even end up referring to one of them as something like a brother. Hall claims that the tall whites lived in underground facilities at the north end of Indian Springs Valley, complete with hangars for their craft. A story bearing striking resemblance to that of Bob Lazar. He learned about their different flying crafts, and as you'll see in our conversation, what he saw comports with much of what we've learned about UAPs since 2017. But the tall whites were not the only alien race described in this story. Hall has talked about the Greys, the small, frail, large-headed humanoids that match the classic Roswell image.
The tall white technology was better than the technology of the Greys, but the Greys come from a planet that's closer than the planet the tall whites come from, and the Greys got here first.
And then there are the Nordics, what you'll hear Hall refer to as the Norwegians with the 24 teeth. Hall described them as more patient, more diplomatic, even benevolent compared to the tall whites. Some of them could pass among humans in the public, sometimes blending into crowds. There is no end to the speculation about how these alien species, who Hall suggests have been here for thousands of years, might have interacted with humanity's evolution or social development. If all of this sounds crazy, well, yeah, I don't blame you. And trust me, we've only scratched the surface here. I personally don't even know what to make about this conversation. There are things Charles Hall is about to say that feel beyond the pale to me. So that's my primer for you. Without further ado, please welcome this week's amazing American alchemist, Charles Hall.
We were told to ask you about bovine blood.
So here's the deal. People are being taken. They're being abducted. Sperm is taken from the men. Ovum is taken from the women. Sometimes women are groomed. They're taken, they're abducted, and they are impregnated. But it's not a human seed. That seed that's in them begins to grow. And on the 3rd month of pregnancy, right around that time, they're re-abducted, and that hybrid entity is removed, and there's never a trace. That little baby, a little entity, hybrid baby, needs to go into an artificial womb.
Incubate.
Most people don't know this. Bovine blood can be used in a human transfusion. They're interchangeable. Cattle mutilations have been going on for decades. They take the parts from the cow. This is conjecture, but it's based on decades of research. They are creating artificial wombs for these hybrid babies to go into. And in our film on this, on cattle mutilations, we actually show in 2024, Japanese were creating artificial wombs. This is the deep end of the pool. Daniel 2:43 says, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. Whose seed are we talking about? And that book of Daniel is sealed up until the time of the end. No one will understand it, but we understand it now. Whose seed are we talking about? Their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave. The word cleave is a marriage contract, no marriage contract, which is exactly what we see with the current abduction phenomena. People are taken, there is no marriage, they take what they want, they take the sperm, they take the ovum, they take the child, they do whatever they want to do. And this is the work of the fallen ones.
Line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
You can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens, Art, they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
I started getting...
А у нас тут летающая тарелка зависла. Вон она. И уже долго-долго мы ее наблюдаем. Жуткая, конечно, капец. А у нас тут...
No sé qué sea, chicos. Estoy aquí, son casi las 5 de la mañana. Estoy arriba de mi carro y de repente salió eso. Pero no se mueve.
Can I ask you something? I know you've heard it all, probably, but,
You, lucky to be alive.
John, don't you ever climb on the roof again. Because we need you.
What is the last thing that you remember?
have you ever worked with anyone who's been abducted? You're not yourself since you fell, man. I'm worried.
You need to rest.
I'm a grown man. I can handle this.
Makes you feel small, doesn't it?
I'm worried.
You sure you're okay? You just talk to me.
Did I say something?
Shop.
None of this is actually happening.
How are you feeling? Rest.
Sean. Sean, look at me. Sean, help me.
I just want to protect my family.
From what?
This is new for you?
This is a dinosaur. As you can tell, he's got the little legs with a long head. We're gonna see what he is. Oh, what the fuck? Bruh. Oh, dog, his mouth's open. Bro, what is this? Look at that.
Poke its neck.
Neck. Look. Oh, fuck! I got scared, I ain't gonna lie. Bro.
Poke its body.
Bro.
Back it up.
Bro, what if he attacks me? Hey, look. Let me get that butt, boy. Ooh.
Okay, yo, I have a crazy theory for you. I have a question for you first. All right. So, would you consider the Earth an organism?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Now, in a sense, the world is living.
Yeah.
Right? In a sense, the world kind of has veins. It has almost even like
a heartbeat too, if you think about it.
Yeah, like a heartbeat. Even has like a nervous system.
Yeah.
If you think about the roots and the plants and all of the things it's attached to in the Earth, it's all connected, right? It's all connected. Now, there's this theory saying the Earth is a being. It's an organism. And the humans are kind of the virus. So the Earth, so when we get sick, when a human gets sick, right?
Yeah.
We create antibodies to
get rid of the virus.
To get rid of the virus, right?
Yeah.
So in the same sense, the Earth will create natural disasters, famine, drought, wildfire, to kill off the virus.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yo,
that's crazy to think about.
Because think about it, bro. We hurt the Earth, right?
Yeah.
We're doing worse for the Earth than the better. And look at all the...
So now you're telling me that a council known as the Galactic Federation has been monitoring our planet since the beginning. They apparently were going to make themselves known in 2027, but due to everything that's been going on Earth, they've moved it up to 2025. They are on their third level of presenting themselves. First, starting with the orbs last year, which a lot of people have seen. The second phase, their motherships, their modes of transportation, have been all around the entire world, cloaked, multiple places that I've seen the videos. Now, once again, this is allegedly, but the third phase is the guy who was sleeping in the egg. The egg that the video that just came out recently, he was resting there, so he's basically their go-to guy. So there is apparently a council of 26, and there are the council of 5, which will be making their human presence known very soon to help us basically get through every bit of craziness that's been happening in our world right now. Now, obviously, anything I say is for entertainment.
Did this rocket just prove that space is fake? We have lift off. Okay, it's going. I paid very close attention to when this rocket breaks out of the bubble. Here we go, watch this. About to do something really weird. Pay attention. What is that? If anyone can explain what this is, please let me know. Thanks for watching and stay weird.
Even if you want to say they did go to the moon, wouldn't it be reasonable to suggest that they would have had a backup plan in case they couldn't get there? Like, like have some sort of a video footage that they shot or whatever?
Well, not only that, they filmed a lot of training footage. And they definitely tried to pass some of that training footage off as legit. That's proven. Like the Michael Collins from Gemini. I forget what mission it was. It was a spacewalk. So there's an image of him that was in training, and he's got the suit on and the wires, and he's working with the spacesuit that you use when you're actually in outside of the capsule or whatever the fuck they call it. And what they did was, from the training mission, they just blacked out the exterior of the same photo and reversed it. So they switched the photo the other way, it's the exact same photo, and they tried to pass it off as Michael Collins on the spacewalk. Because you got to think, like, how are they taking pictures? Who's going to take the picture of them out there? This is part of the problem with, I think it was Apollo 12 or 13, whichever one it was, where they got the footage of the lunar module leaving the moon and going back towards the orbiter, and it looks so fake. It looks so fake. It looks so ridiculous. There's no plumes of fire. How does it have the power? Where's the engine?
They use car batteries, right? On that thing, allegedly. That's what Bart Sibrel says.
It's still 1/6 of Earth's gravity. It's still a significant amount of gravity. It's not the same gravity as Earth, but how does that thing shoot off into space? That's nonsense. It looks like it's being pulled by strings.
Yeah.
And the camera, which is operated, remotely, pans perfectly to catch it. Shut the fuck up. And how are you getting that footage? What are you doing? This is 1969. You're on the phone with Richard Nixon from the moon. Are you out of your fucking mind? Is this supposed to be real?
Yeah.
Even Musk admits it's a lot to take in.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
Let me play it back for you. Watch right here, right in the live feed. Bam. Did you guys see that? Let's look at it again in slow motion. Check this out. Okay, did you guys notice where the green screen came on? Check this out right here. Look at the background behind the car. I'm going to show you where he actually truly is. He's not in space. Let me show you where he truly is. Check this out. Okay, now here the car is at the Space Center just before the launch, supposedly. Now, see this thing surrounding it? This is your green screen, your simulator. That's all it is. See this background right here? Does that look familiar? Look at it again. As you can see, the background is identical. He's not in space, people. It's all just a bunch of fakery to deceive you. Now check this out right here. See how he's just turning in one spot? He's just turning. That's a green screen around him. He's just in one spot turning. And it even showed you, I even showed you in the footage before. He's on this little platform. It's got a little track on it and just sits there and makes that car turn. As you can see right here. See that little track down at the bottom of this thing that it's sitting on? Yeah, that's all that thing does is sit there and rotates. You've been fooled, people. It's a lie. It's a hoax.
This is not a conspiracy. This is scary. So in 2018, scientists discovered a black hole really, really far. I want to say it was 16 million light years away. Something crazy. Whoa. Super far from us. They were watching it literally swallow a star.
Oof.
It was sucking a star in.
Did it move or the star move?
The star was getting sucked into this black, so it was just light streams going into this black hole.
And where is it going?
Listen to this. What they thought they knew of black holes, well, they don't know a lot. Stuff gets sucked into it because it's just this mad force of gravitational pull that just sucks everything in.
Yeah.
But this year, they looked at the same black hole and it was spitting the star back out. So light and stuff was coming out of this black hole. So it was regurgitating this star.
Just recycling it.
Broken apart though. So it's what's on the other side? Yeah.
Oh, I thought a star was just a ball of gas.
It is. But light and stuff was coming out of it. So it was it sucked the star in with the light, fire, all that, whatever a star is. And it was spitting it straight back out.
That's
3 years
terrifying.
later.
Scientists just discovered a monster black hole collision. It's the biggest that we've ever seen. Two black holes of masses 100 and 140 times our sun collided with each other billions of light years away. Meanwhile, here on Earth, two different observatories were shining lasers down these concrete tubes 4 kilometers long when they noticed a tiny change in that light. When they analyzed it, they saw that we were feeling ripples in the fabric of the universe called gravitational waves. waves that were caused by those two black holes colliding and creating a combined black hole weighing 225 times our sun, which we know about by shooting lasers down concrete tubes. To go inside those tunnels, follow along.
That's it. That's the wormhole. You say don't spread it, huh? It's a sphere. Well, of course it is. What you thought it would just be a hole. No, it's just that all the illustrations I've ever seen, illustrations. Let me show you how it works. So they say you want to go from here to there, but it's too far, right? Mm-hmm. So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension. Okay, so to show that, they've turned three-dimensional space into 2 dimensions, which turns a wormhole into 2 dimensions. A circle. What's a circle in 3 dimensions? Sphere. Exactly. A spherical hole. But who put it there? Who do we have to thank? I'm not thanking anybody until we get out of here in one piece, Ron.
Am I famous on here?
Yeah, I mean, right now you're famous. We got like 24,000. What up, yo?
24,000?
Yeah, 24,000, man.
24,000.
Is there anything that you want to say? You want to say anything to these people, man?
Stephanie Ann Johnson. Look at that.
Who's that?
Look it up.
Stephanie Ann Johnson.
Yeah.
Is she a porn star? Who's Stephanie Ann Johnson?
So there is such a thing as a Mobius strip, and a Mobius strip is a fascinating thing. If you want to make one, cut a ribbon. You could tape the ends together to make a loop. That's nothing odd about a loop. There's an inside of the loop
and the outside.
And instead this time, instead of connecting them that way, give one of those edges a turn, 180 degree twist, then tape them together. That thing has only one side. You could draw a line along the length of it as you pull the ribbon through, and without ever lifting your pencil off the page, without ever crossing the edge of the page, you will land back where you started, and you would have put a line on all surfaces of it. If you cut it in half along the line you just drew, you make a single loop twice as big. If your path through time is on a Mobius strip, you can come back to where you were, but you're not exactly where you were. You're on the other side of that space.
Even though it only has one side.
It only has one side.
See, that's it.
Not quite the same. I've had a number of people email me say, gee, you really got it right. We didn't get it right at all. There's no crossbar here. And it's brighter on one side, and we're not brighter on one side there, so what's going on? Well, here is one way to understand what's going on. So the camera for the movie Interstellar is near the plane of the disk, and so that's what it looks like in Interstellar, but we're going to move the camera up to the North Pole and see what happens. It's pretty obvious. You lose the crossbar. And then you blur things out, because the radio astronomers don't have very good angular resolution.
Black hole cannot be escaped. Within it, time and space are broken down. But the outer region, the ergosphere, that can be punctured and harnessed. We feed it electromagnetic rays, photons, drops of light cutting through space with a heat we cannot imagine. They have returned to godhood. that they gather each second preparing. And then, touched by stolen fire and super radiant energy, we reach across the expanse with an unendurable force. Witness.
It's entirely possible that our observable universe right now exists on the interior of an enormous black hole. This is very weird, I admit. So what is a black hole actually doing? Think about what it does. We know that black holes eat things and grow. So we know that that event horizon is growing. If you were on the inside, this thing would be growing too. So this horizon, think about what it means to be inside of a black hole. You'd have this point of space, this region of space that you could never get to, and it's always receding from you. A horizon. If you look out into space, there is a horizon very, very far out away, beyond which we cannot see, but we know there's stuff there, but we can never possibly see, and no matter how quickly you travel, you'd never be able to get to it. That's remarkably similar to what you would experience on the inside of a black hole.
Take this ball here, pour a whole bunch of water on it, and watch none of the water fall off the bottom. It all sticks onto it. And while that's happening, and the water stays stuck. Not only that, you're at 1,000 miles an hour spinning this way, which also at 67,000 miles an hour, 67,000 miles an hour, while spinning 1,000, you're circling around the sun. And while that's happening, you're also chasing the sun through the Milky Way at 514,000 miles an hour. And every single night, the stars are exactly the same. Every single night. Every single night. The stars never change. Polaris is always exactly where it is.
Okay, so you've probably seen this video circulating online where a peaceful protest in Serbia was interrupted by a strange noise and vibration. Some protesters reported hearing a noise inside their head with an extreme sharp pain and intense fear. These are the exact symptoms of infrasonic technology, which is basically a banned biological weapon used for mass control and manipulation. Now you're probably thinking, what's this new technology? But what if I told you they've actually been using this for thousands of years? Some researchers suggest that ancient civilizations, such as the builders of the Great Pyramids of Giza, may have harnessed infrasonic sound for various purposes. Certain passages within the pyramid, like the Dead End Passage, actually functioned as resonance tubes, generating infrasound frequencies below human hearing capability. Conspiracy theorists believe that these were used by the Anunnaki to control and manipulate the Egyptian population. So, could this technology be used to stop the new wave of protests and keep us under further control? Or could it be something much darker?
The
Did you know in Batman The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's smart as when he did this.
Yeah.
That whole scene where Joker crashes the party, he asks for Harvey, and then he looks for Rachel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I only have one question. Where is Harvey Dent?
Christopher Nolan did the same thing twice. Bruce Wayne crashed the party beforehand, looks for Harvey, looked for Rachel. What he wanted to show was in the same way a villain would do something. Somebody with the riches, and even though they're kind of a hero, they still did the same thing. Yeah.
I'm sorry that I'm late. I'm glad to see that you all got started without me. Now, where is Harvey?
And then the villain, Harvey, ended up Two-Face because one side of his coin was burnt, other side was clean.
Listen, Dent, I swear to God, I didn't know what they were gonna do to you.
That's funny. Because I don't know what's gonna happen to you either.
I might hit that shit. As she came into the window with the sound of a crescendo, she came in her apartment with the best things on the carpet. She was underneath the table. You could see she wasn't able. Then she ran into the bedroom. She was sucked down. It was her doom. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? With the down. She walking. With the sound of the window. He's something. She's in the air. He's in the airport. In the balcony. In the carpet. She was in the bedroom. It was shut down. It was so true. And are you okay? You've been hit by, you've been stuck by a smooth criminal.
Ooh. People ask me why their grandparents or great-grandparents never talked about the reset. Why don't they remember anything about it? Well, let me try to explain it. First, there were the Cabbage Patch Babies. Now, these weren't just toys, you see. They became a symbol of something much bigger, a massive repopulation effort after the reset. These babies, they weren't born the usual way. They were produced almost mechanically in large numbers and distributed through a cold, efficient system. Strange, isn't it? Brings to mind ideas like cloning, doesn't it? And maybe that's why today you see so many folks who just seem to go with the flow. No questions, no thinking. Did you know they say nearly half the population doesn't even have an internal monologue? Imagine that, living life with a quiet mind, just following along. Those babies, those orphan trains, they were shipped off along with abandoned children who had survived the reset, taken from their families, sent to faraway lands. Many ended up in America. And when they got there, they were given a new story, the official version of history. No elders left to tell them the truth. Nobody to remember how things used to be. It made them easier to control, you see, easier to accept the new narrative.